My 26 female stepdad, Jimmy, 50, has been in my life for 12 years and has been married to my mom, 48, for 10 years. I love him a lot. He has a special place in my life, and at this point I see him more than my bio dad. He's also close to my older sister, Allie, 28, and my younger brother, Brian, 23, and legally adopted them at their request when they turned 18. He also has a son, Jason, 31, from his previous relationship, whom my mom has adopted. The topic of inheritance came up as Jason just had a child, and Jimmy had to reconfigure his will to include his contribution to his grandchildren. We were joking around and said that the new grandchild would get it all because she's obviously very loved as the first baby/grandchild. And Jimmy said no, things were divided equitably amongst the 4 children. I asked him what that looked like, and it was 30% for each of my siblings and 10% for me. I was a little shocked because he said things were divided equally, but everyone else was getting more than me. His explanation was that as the legal father of each of my siblings, it's his full responsibility to make sure his children are taken care of. Since I still have a legal and parental relationship with my bio dad, I would have access to whatever he left me, whereas my siblings just have him and my mom, so it was fair in his eyes. This obviously hurts since we have a great relationship, and I've always considered him an additional father figure. We got into an argument after I expressed how upset I was. He pointed out that he supported me like a father in many other ways, which is true. However, to me it's not about the money, and I told him he was being petty and punishing me for not wanting to be his daughter legally. He seemed really hurt and told me I was being an idiot and walked away, which my siblings agreed with. I didn't think I was the idiot until talking to Allie, and she told me how upset Jimmy was, and also called me an entitled idiot. Am I really one here? Edit. Allie, Brian, and I have the same mom and bio dad. They don't speak to our bio dad, so I don't know if there's anything for them, but I would be surprised if there is. You are the idiot. You can't have things both ways. Not wanting to become his daughter legally, but wanting the equal share of his estate that his legal children get makes precisely 0 sense. You're lucky to even have that option, as many don't, and to have a step-parent that took an active interest in establishing and maintaining a close bond with you, and who didn't throw a fit when you, unlike the rest of your siblings, elected to not be adopted. You made a choice, as did your sibs, and this is part of what that choice you made comes along with. Why should you get an equal share to theirs of his estate, as well as your dad's estate? What makes you any more deserving than Allie or Brian? Not so low-key hoping he cuts into your percentage for the granddaughter now. This exactly. Plus, why do you think you're entitled to anything? Your mom and stepdad should spend every last penny. It's theirs. They might need it all for sickness or end-of-life care. No one knows what's going to happen. However, you are at risk of losing the best piece of the pie. You have a loving and involved stepdad that you love. Do not damage the one good thing he's guaranteed to leave you, his presence in your life. Yeah, so you're allowed to make a distinction and decide the boundaries of your relationship, but he isn't? You're hurt by this. Imagine how he felt when you didn't want him to adopt you. He didn't even bring it up with you, though, because it's your decision. Only leaving you 10% of his estate is not a punishment. How very entitled of you to say so. OP, will you share equally any inheritance you get from bio dad with all 3 of your siblings? I'm guessing no. So you want a bigger piece of the total pie. Stepdad's only giving you an equal-ish piece of the total pie. In all reality, you will still likely end up with a larger portion than the other 2 bios and 1 step-sibling. You see this as a punishment, but the correct cognitive mapping is you actually think that you deserve more instead of equal. I don't think he should even leave you 10% when you chose not to get adopted by him. I just job hopped and landed a job at a frankly ridiculous salary. I went from making $120K doing software engineering to $310K in a senior systems engineering role, plus a sign-on bonus and stock options. It's a startup company that's high risk, high reward. so it's a gamble if the company will still exist in a few years. But for now, it's great. I decided I didn't want to change my lifestyle at all, since the money was probably temporary. So I kept spending like always and just put all the extra money into maxing out my retirement savings and paying down my house. I've also been in a relationship with my boyfriend, Jason, for about a year and a half. He makes $90K, so he's doing really well himself. We're in a low cost of living rural area, and he's still making a lot more than average here. But after I got the new job, he started being really critical of how I spend, or don't. Like, I wanted to build a sunroom gazebo for my house, so I went to the Construction Material Recycling and Reuse Center to buy some lumber and some vintage windows to make it. Woodworking and DIY are genuinely a hobby of mine, but my boyfriend made fun of me for still going to the junkyard to build the gazebo, even when I could afford to hire a contractor. But the bigger fight has been about a vacation. We'd planned a road trip in the summer, camping most of the way, and staying in hotels a night or two a week to shower and stay near cities we visit. But after I got the new job, he wanted to stay in hotels every night. I was kind of stressed about that because I don't want to start spending like I'll always have this kind of cash flow and have that lifestyle creep up, since I know it might not last. And I don't want to feel disappointed or struggle when I have to scale back my spending. It was really important to me to put away whatever extra money that's temporarily coming through for my future. But my boyfriend told me I was ridiculous, wanting to sleep on the ground on our vacation when I was making so much. I said I love camping. I was looking forward to all the camping and hiking and climbing we planned. And he snapped at me, saying that I seem to love everything that's cheap or free, and it's kind of entitled, honestly. I said if anyone's acting entitled, it's honestly him, when he just wanted me to pay for something he didn't even ask if I wanted. Didn't offer to split the cost or anything. It's like he just saw me making more and decided he wanted to spend it. We had this big fight where he said I was all me, only caring about my house and my retirement and how I'd spend thousands a month paying my mortgage faster than I needed to, but wouldn't even do the minimum to make our vacation nice. Am I the idiot for wanting to use the money coming in from a new job to save for the future? Your boyfriend sounds like he has extremely different financial values from you. The concerning thing here is that he refuses to respect your financial values and seeks to impose his own on you. He absolutely feels entitled to your money. It's fantastic that this happened now because he's showing you who he is before the relationship gets more serious. End it. This isn't the guy. Yeah, OP seriously needs to rethink this relationship. He's a greedy, manipulative, entitled idiot. Anyone wanting to control how you spend your money is a red flag. Plus, it's very likely this job is temporary. Most startups don't last very long. So saving it to ensure she has a comfortable retirement, plus paying off her mortgage, is the smartest thing she could do for her future. Also, calling her entitled? Talk about projection. You are the idiot. So you're making $190,000 more than you were, and you can't spend a wee bit of that on a holiday? It's your money and you're saving it for both of your futures. There's no need to be as cheap as you are when it's a matter of a couple thousand out of that extra $190,000 that you're going to get for a couple of years. He's not exactly asking for a $70K car or anything. It's your cheapness that's actually the problem. My 26 female, husband 30, and I decided not to buy our daughter, tween, a smartphone until she turns 13. And lately she's been suffering because absolutely all of her friends have their own smartphones. So she only uses mine or my husband's when she wants to communicate with her friends or play games. She can't use any app like Instagram or TikTok for obvious reasons, and she doesn't like having to use our phones, and that's why she's angry. But the anger doesn't last for more than a few hours or even minutes, because she then starts playing with her sisters, tween, pre-tween, toddler, with the dogs or with us, and she forgets about the phone thing. The thing is, everyone is questioning our decision. They think we don't know how to raise children, that we're cruel, and many other things. And I usually ignore them because only my husband and I know what's best for our children. But lately, I can't ignore these comments anymore because I've gotten tired. My sister-in-law, 35, is the one who insists the most on this matter. She thinks that a smartphone is very necessary for a child because it connects them with their friends. I told her that it can also connect them with dangerous people and that I want to avoid that I wouldn't want her to end up like me. And don't get me wrong, I don't regret having children so young because I adore them. Still, sometimes I wish my parents had been more careful and taught me more things, so I want to be better as a parent. When I said that, my sister-in-law said that I was being dramatic, that my daughter would hate me, and that she would resent us for having forbidden her something so important at this age. I told her that she was happy, and then when she wanted to communicate with her friends, she did it with my phone, so she was fine. But she went on and on with the same thing, and I got tired and yelled at her to tell her to shut up, that I don't want to be like her, who brought her preschool child a phone to give to him every time he cries, that I want to spend quality time with my children, and that when they grow up, they remember that, and not stupid videos from the internet. Of course, she got mad and ended up leaving my house without even saying goodbye, but I didn't care and went on with my life, until I started receiving messages from my in-laws saying that what I did was wrong because I made her feel bad, that she's a single mother, and that's why she needs her son to be entertained with the phone, that she's waiting for an apology. And I told them that I would apologize when she apologizes to me first for having told me the things she's been saying to me for years. And I say that because it's normal for me to hear her always make fun of me because of the age at which I had my kids. So I'm tired. I had to tell her what I told her because I'm sick of her thinking she's a better mother just because she had her kids at the right age and not at 16. So am I the idiot for yelling at her? Yelling isn't nice, but it sounds like you really reached a breaking point after years of harassment and criticism from her. Sister-in-law needs to learn to shut up and mind her own business, not the idiot. Sister-in-law got a little taste of her own medicine and wasn't thrilled about it. That said, you should let your husband deal with the extended family chiming in. This is your child. No one else has any right to tell you when they can have technology that's difficult to control and monitor. You're totally right about the phone. But how is blocking her from things helping, as opposed to teaching her safe internet usage at a young age? By 13, she's going to be a lot less receptive to your intervention, and she'll be watching things on her friends' phones now. OP, so you had 3 kids by the time you were like, what, 18? Surprised there are not more comments about the fact that a 20-year-old was the father, considering the normal comments from older men and younger female companions in these stories. Anyway, I say everyone's the idiot here though, because while you have the right not to give your child a phone, you don't have the right to shame your sister-in-law for her parenting, just like she doesn't have a right to shame you for yours. And no idea why these in-laws are even involved, but they suck too. My husband and I have been married for about a year. We have 2 kids, Ella teen, who's my daughter from a previous marriage, and Anya, younger teen, who's his daughter. We have 50-50 custody of both girls, but the custody plan is in a way that each week we have one of the girls, and we usually don't have them at the same time, which I think is a good thing. Anya skipped a grade, so she's in the same class as Ella. A few days before Christmas, Ella came back home crying. She told me that Anya and her friends had been making fun of her. This is not the first time she's bullied my daughter. She mocked her for being fat. She is just a little overweight, and made fun of her for not having any friends. When I heard the whole story of what happened, I was so mad. My father-in-law has been planning a trip for the entire family, completely paid for, and even though Anya wasn't supposed to be with us that week, she was invited. I decided I didn't want her to be anywhere around Ella, so I called father-in-law, explained everything to him, and asked him to uninvite Anya. He basically told me that if we have a problem with his granddaughter, we can skip the trip, and didn't listen to anything else I said. I waited for my husband to come back home and told him everything. He said he'd handle it. I asked him if that meant Anya was uninvited, and he said no, but he would find an appropriate punishment. I was fuming. I made a Facebook post explaining what had happened, and said if Anya went, then Ella and I would not be going. My sister-in-law messaged me and called me an idiot and told me to delete my post and said I'm delusional if I think they'll uninvite their niece so that 2 strangers would join the trip. We didn't go. I'm so angry that I'm still seeing red. Am I an idiot for expecting them to uninvite her? You are the idiot. This isn't your vacation. Your father-in-law can invite who he wants, and he's inviting all of his grandchildren. Also, way to make it about you and post it on Facebook. And what a way to make sure the girls never get along. I don't understand not having them at the same time either. I am not condoning your stepdaughter's bullying. That's a separate issue that your husband needs to deal with. You can't expect your father-in-law to not invite his grandkid to a trip he planned. You've taken this too far, but posting this on social media? Why did you even do that? That's such an immature thing to do. You haven't even been married into this family for a year. He barely knows you, and probably your daughter's a virtual stranger to him. He's not going to, nor should he be expected to, prioritize you over his grandchild, whom he's known for her whole life. Get over yourself. Yep, don't put family drama on social media. It's so bizarre that OP thinks it's solely up to her to decide how Anya should be punished, but absolutely baffling to me that she thinks she can dictate who someone else invites on their vacation. Wouldn't surprise me if she bullied Anya when she was around, and Anya bullied the other one in retaliation. You say we have 2 kids, but from what you write, it sounds like you and your husband have 1 kid, your bio daughter. Your husband has a kid who you tolerate and refuse to parent at best, but also who you actively bully and exclude and publicly humiliate on occasion. You're not just a bad parent, you're an abusive one. You are the idiot, and I hope your husband gets you out of his daughter's life ASAP before you do any more damage. I, 25 female, like to stay in shape. I go to the gym at least 4 times a week. My sister-in-law, 34, has been overweight her entire life and wants to make a change, and asked if she could be my gym buddy because she needs motivation. I said sure, and she signed up at the same gym. Yesterday was our first gym date. I picked her up after work, and we went. 20 minutes in, she was done and wanted to leave. I told her I still wanted to get my workout in and that it would be another 40-ish minutes, so could she wait in the lobby? They have a little waiting area with tables and chairs, or in the car if she wanted to. I thought she did, but when I was done, I saw a text on my phone that my brother had picked her up. So I texted her this morning to tell her to let me know when she wanted to go with me again. She never replied, but I got an angry text from my brother. He's telling me it's hard for her to go to the gym, and what I did completely discouraged her. He said I humiliated her by telling her to wait in the lobby, and I should have left with her. He claims she needs time to adjust, and after what I did, she may never go back. He said I should be patient with her, since she's just starting out. Now I feel terrible, like I should have left, but my sister-in-law is very upset with me. Ha, not the idiot. If she really thinks she'll cut your exercise short because she's exhausted after 20 minutes for her, she shouldn't have asked you in the first place. She's an adult. She could have sat there and played with her phone for 20 minutes and waited. She opted to whine. Not your problem. She wasn't looking for a gym buddy. She was looking for a free ride. Take away the fact that it's a gym. Why is her need to go home more important than your need to stay? This is the risk she took by asking you for a ride. Telling her that you aren't ready to go after 20 minutes is not humiliating. She's using this as an excuse to stay fat. Now she can blame you instead of herself. On a good note, your brother and sister-in-law seem perfect for each other.